You are listening to Music Student 101. With discussions on topics such as music theory, ear training, history, career direction, and overall musicianship. This podcast is an asset to today's college-level musician, music professional, or anyone who just wants to know music better. And now, your hosts, Jeremy Burns and Matthew Scott Phillips.
All right, welcome to Music Student 101. This podcast is intended for you, the musician. I am Jeremy Burns.
And I am Matthew Phillips.
Our mission statement. We actually have a mission statement. Did you know this?
I just learned this, as a matter of fact.
We have a mission statement. It is to inform, assist, and empower music students of all levels.
Of all levels.
And we mean that.
While our intended audience is incoming freshmen who have chosen to be music majors, this podcast, we also hope to be a good resource for music minors or people taking music classes as a core, or really anyone, college student or not, who is just enthusiastic and passionate about music and wants to know more about how it works, how it's worked in the past, how it's going to be working in the future, and all sorts of other various sundry music-related things.
I guess at least for the first couple of seasons, we're going to be getting into the basics.
Not a whole lot of knowledge is assumed, no.
Correct. But we will be talking about theory. We'll be talking about ear training.
We will be talking about musicology, ethnomusicology.
We'll get into tips on how to take care of your gear, how to take care of your voice if that's your instrument. Whatever your instrument is, we're going to try and cover you. We're also going to be talking about, just basically getting through the college environment.
Because it's stressful.
It can be stressful. We somehow made it.
Yeah, I don't know how.
We're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves in a little while. I guess we're not just any yo-yos off the street who happen to get a BA in music. Yeah. I mean, I kind of am, but We'll talk more about that in a minute. Yeah. We're also here because we've been through this, and I wish that I had this kind of podcast available. I mean, let's be honest. We've been listening around and looking for podcasts, and we haven't found anything kind of...
Really, we haven't. Everything seemed very basic.
Well, I feel like back when I was in college, we had each other, our fellow students.
Right, yeah.
We had our books, and to some extent we had the internet,
Yeah, the 90s 26K modem internet, which was awesome. We were so excited.
But I wish that we had some kind of... I like the idea of having a podcast or something you can listen to over and over if you wanted to supplement the information you're learning in the course. Hopefully in a manner that's entertaining.
Hopefully. We try.
And captivating.
Let's not set the bar too high.
No, we shall see. We shall see. Okay, so I guess we should tell them a little bit about ourselves.
Probably.
Go right ahead, Matt.
Okay, well, I am Matthew Scott Phillips. I have a Doctor of Musical Arts from the University of Georgia, a Master's of Music from Birmingham Southern College, and a Bachelor's of Arts in Music Technology from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, where I met Jeremy back in the day. These days, I am a college professor. I am also a composer who I have studied with some really cool people, Charles Norman Mason, Jan Vichar, Ladislav Kubik, Tracy Mendel, Marvin Johnson. I've had my music played in Brazil and in Prague and in the United States and in Germany. I've had pieces published by Kistner and Siegel, and it's been a really wild ride that started with me just trying to learn the stuff that we're going to try to help you through with this podcast. We've both run the gauntlet, and we've come out on the other side. Yes, it can happen.
It can happen, actually.
But what about you, Jeremy?
Well, I took a little bit of a different path. I got my Bachelor of Arts at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and again, that's where I met Matt. I got my degree in music technology. It was a major in music technology with a minor in psychology, so at some point I even thought I was going to get into music therapy, but more about that in future episodes. I ultimately ended up enjoying the technical direction a bit more, so that might have landed me in a recording studio, interning, mixing, engineering, maybe eventually producing. But I ended up getting into location audio once I got out of school. So I do sound for film and television production. I work on reality TV shows and documentaries, commercials, whatever. I'm the guy with the boom pole and the mixer.
And Jeremy and I are both bass players, by the way.
Yes, I still play music all the time. I'm completely saturated in music, and I love every note of it. I play in a couple of bands through college. When I was about where you guys are now, I was playing in a band called Tonal Vision, which was kind of a jam band, but we also we had a mandolin player, and we did a bunch of cool fusion stuff, and that's where I got a lot of my chops touring, and we got a van and a trailer, and we toured the Southeast, and
we played a lot of great venues and great festivals, and so maybe that's where I can shed a little bit of light on the subject of being a working musician, being on the road.
Taking care of your instruments, taking care of your body. I'm not the authority on that, but I can tell you what not to do.
We can be a cautionary tale in many regards.
We can. But yeah, so I currently play bass in this Irish band, Jasper Cole. It's a rowdy, fun kind of band, and that's where I've always been a bass player, but I always wanted to learn a little bit more about melody. So I picked up the tenor banjo and the bouzouki, which is like a mandolin family instrument.
And just our two separate biographies, or when you listen to them side by side, are a great testament to the many versatile things you can do with a music degree. Even if our particular career paths can be very diverse. I kind of went into academia. I do a lot of studying music and listening to music and talking about music.
Analysis,
analyzing music, whereas my friend Jeremy does a lot more actually playing and performing music and recording music and being in a very tactile sense associated with our passion.
I think that's what makes us a good combo, I think, for this kind of thing. We can kind of share all different approaches.
We have multiple different approaches, yeah. And, we know how hard it is. I think deciding to be a music major means you've decided that there will not be a pre-cleared path for you to walk.
Which is true, right?
Very, very true. I think there are other things out there that you could major in, and there's sort of an idea of what everybody does. You get your degree, then you go intern from somewhere. That first internship leads to your first job. And then you get maybe a couple other jobs, and then you're set for life.
Yeah, the roadmap is there. You just got to show up on time and do a good job.
Yeah, the path is there. Just go walk it. That sounds mind-numbingly boring to me.
And to a lot of creatives, I think.
And to a lot of creative people. Yeah, you're totally right. When you major in music, that path is not there. You're going to spend a lot of your life not knowing where you want to go or what you want to do. And I think that's normal. I think that's normal for anyone who goes into anything creative. And it is equally normal for music. So we can hopefully at least present you with a few options.
Yeah, you can do something with this. I mean, I'm not really skating around town with a Cadillac on each foot, but I'm doing okay for myself,
Yeah,
I'm supporting my family, and
but I like my life.
We like our lives. It's a charmed life, really. To some people.
And isn't that kind of important?
That's very important. Yeah.
And seriously, if you majored in music, thinking, I'll major in music, that'll get me rich. We probably got some bad news.
No, yeah.
But hopefully you know that when you're majoring in music.
Yeah, because honestly, there's a stigma that comes along with that. Oh, what are you going to do with that?
Right. Yeah.
I majored in music and minored in psychology. I had the double. What are you going to do with that thing?
That's awesome.
Never did anything with psychology, really.
Yeah, I actually didn't have to have a minor. I was grandfathered in, and they didn't make me, because from before you didn't have to have a minor, so I got to skip that.
You got to skip on the minor.
Yeah, and I was only like a year ahead of you, dude.
Huh.
But they changed it while we were there, and I got grandfathered in. I actually regret not having a minor now, but we digress. So, Jeremy, has anyone ever expressed confusion about your major or choice of major, or wondered how you were going to support yourself in your life with this kind of major?
Well, no one just outright questioned me on it, but I've gotten, you get a certain,
right,
kind of thing.
Oh, so yeah, that sounds like fun.
And maybe that's a misconception. It is a lot of hard work and a lot of hard studying, and
yes, it is. I remember I had someone ask me once, what my degree was in, and I told him it's in music, and he said, so what? You're going to go play down at Marty's? Marty's was a local bar for years. Like, so you're going to go play down at Marty's for a living? Kind of with a smirk on his face.
Yeah.
What I told him was, I do not need a college degree to go play at a bar.
That's a good point.
They really don't check your resume.
No. But we will get into some of the things you can do. There's actually a great number of fields you can go into through the music program, things you probably haven't even thought of yet.
Right. Things you almost certainly haven't even thought of yet. But first you need to know something about music.
Basically, we're going to be able to kind of follow you through the music program. We're going to start off with very basic theory and early music history, and we're just going to be kind of doing a la carte episodes on one topic, but it'll be within kind of a standard sequence that a lot of music students will follow.
Right. So we'll start off with some basic fundamentals, theory-wise. We'll move into chord progressions, inversions. We'll probably study a little counterpoint, eventually reaching such sophisticated topics maybe as chromatic chords, chromatic alterations, the famous German, Italian, and French augmented sixth chords. Could maybe even start talking about structural reduction at some point, all these kind of things. We can progress slowly but surely through the history and development of the Western musical tradition, from the Gregorian chant through the Renaissance to the development of what people today consider to be classical music and what's been happening in that genre since the 1800s, which is actually pretty fascinating.
We'll also cover some good study habits, how to get through some of these ear training courses and sight reading and some things like that you haven't even realized you'd have to be dealing with up until this point.
And we'll talk about some basic tenets of being a good musician, how to be a musician that is helpful in band practice, what it's like to be working with a group of other people in playing, how to bring your special knowledge and your special creativity to making music of all types.
Yeah. To me, one of the most fascinating things about music is I feel like I keep on learning something new with it all the time. I'm always a student,
Yeah, you really never stop learning. And honestly, to me, at this point, the idea that I would ever, quote unquote, have learned it all is actually pretty scary. I've actually gotten to the point that I don't think I would want to just say, okay, well, now I know it all, so now it's all behind me, I'm just done. At that point, I would think, what the hell do I do now?
You just die.
You just die. At that point, you can just die.
We don't want to die.
We don't want to die.
We don't want you to die.
We don't want you to die. You're too young to die.
So let's keep on studying music.
But no, you do sort of learn to appreciate the fact that you're always learning. That I think that's part of just getting older in life in general. But if you've chosen to study music, is part of your learning to study music too. This is not empirical knowledge. This is not something that you teach as like it's a bit of information and then you can just say, well, I know that now and move on. This is a skill set. Mm-hmm. It is a skill set, and it is an art, and it is a discipline. And it's something that will be with you for the rest of your life. And I can't imagine my life without being a musician. I don't even have the ability to conceive of what that would be,
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it, yeah. All of those cool bluegrass tunes are not going to play themselves. All that stuff you hear on the radio, somebody had to put that together. And somebody had to teach those people how to put it together.
And maybe starting today, we can help you guys put it all together and keep it together. Okay, so before we get out of here, I think it's a good idea to let these people know how they can find out more about us. Matt, how can they learn more about you?
Well, my SoundCloud page has live recordings of a great many of my compositions. Not all of them, but a lot of the most recent ones. You can get to that at soundcloud.com/Matthew Scott Phillips. All of those words are hyphenated. Mm-hmm. Or you can check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/MSP Music. Or my sheet music is available to purchase from Amazon. Just Google Matthew Scott Phillips. Or you can just Google Matthew Scott Phillips. I'm like the first 5 things to come up.
That must be nice.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool.
And if you want to learn more about me, I know I mentioned I have a website for my work, which is area47sounds.com. That's more about the work I do in film and television, if you want to learn about my gear or my credits or my work experience. But as far as music goes, I too have a SoundCloud page, and you could probably just look up Area 47 Music in SoundCloud and you'll find it. And of course, we have our musicstudent101.com website. So that's where you can learn more about us as well. We have our bios on there.
And if you want to contact us, it is info@musicstudent101.com.
So there you have it. Matt, are you excited?
I'm excited, Jeremy. Are you excited?
I'm excited. So we're looking forward to doing more, and we hope you get as much as you can out of this podcast.
For show notes, study aids, and examples, check out our website at musicstudent101.com. For questions or comments, please email us at info@musicstudent101.com.